on. I am pleased to introduce our speaker, Peter Ehrlich. Let me just give a brief introduction. Peter worked at the San Francisco Municipal Railway from 1979 to 2005, the last 10 years being assigned to PCCs, Milan, trams, and vintage cars running on the F Market and Wharves line. He continues to document traction across North America and Europe. His book, San Francisco's F Line, is available on the erausa.org website. When you go on that website, scroll down to publications, you will get a discount. You'll be directed directly to the link where you can order the book online. I believe it's normally $65, and I think the discount is $20. So it's a really excellent book. And if you doubt that, wait till you watch the first 5 or 10 minutes of Peter's presentation. Peter is an outstanding photographer and photojournalist. So he's going to be talking about Milan trams operating both in San Francisco and in their home base of Milan. And again, if you have any questions, please put your questions in the chat. We will monitor the chat and ask Peter at an appropriate time. With that, okay, enough. All right, let me take, Peter, I turn it over to you.
Buonasera tutti. I was a tram operator in San Francisco, where I operated our first Milan Peter Witts from 1984 through 1999. And as I got experience of running the car, why is this not working?
There you go.
I got more appreciation of its qualities and iconicity. The Milan Peter Witts is an icon, just like Melbourne's W2 trams, New Orleans St. Charles streetcar, and San Francisco's cable cars. And I will document that a little later in the program with an interesting anecdote. And also, as you can see, I'm a fan of the Young and the Restless. Later, Muni would acquire a few more Milan Peter Witts. Basically, the presentation tonight, I'm going to have several slides which have text only. I'm going to give everybody 15 seconds to read through those slides before I move on to the next one.
We're good. I think we're fine.
Like this one.
We're fine. I already looked. Okay, it's fine. One or two are on.
Okay.
Shut myself off.
The next several slides are of the Trolley Festival years. This is 1984 at the Transbay Terminal. First in Market. In the background, you can see the hated Embarcadero Freeway, which later became quake damage and was torn down. Here we are at Powell Market with the Mexican jumping bean, Beer Cruise 001 at 11th and Market. At DeBoson Church with the Black Bull 228 and a Boeing LRB. Going out the end Judah line. We're coming inbound at Irving and 4th Avenue. 9th and Judah. Backing into the 30th Avenue Y, which is what single end cars did in the first 3 years of the Trolley Festival. Occasionally they go all the way out to Ocean Beach. And occasionally they'd also operate on the J line. You can see City Hall in the middle of the picture, and the skyline has changed considerably since this 1985 shot. This is a pullout approaching 24th Street. Later, all cars were able to run 17th and Castro in 1986. This is a 75th anniversary shot at the Transbay Terminal, 75th anniversary of Munich. We have the Russian car 106, the Milan car PCC 1040, and Hamburg 3557. These next scenes are taken from the first years of the F line, 1995 through 1999. Transbay Terminal with BCC 1061, which represents Pacific Electric. Market in second with the Cincinnati car 1057. In this picture, you can see that the Embarcadero Freeway has been demolished. Marking fourth with the Brooklyn PCC, 7th and Market. Come on. Oh, okay. This is 11th and Market. The 11th Street Y is on the left. PCC 1057 is coming inbound, and the big building is San Francisco Muni headquarters. And this inscription is on just about every Peter Witt in Milan. And basically tells you to shut up as you watch the motorman. Okay. Mark and DeBose with the New Orleans 952. Church and Market, this is a high dynamic range image. See a Boeing LRV crossing on the J line, PCC 1050 coming outbound, and the trolley coach taken in 1995.
Peter, do you want to explain a moment what high dynamic range pictures mean?
What high dynamic range means is that it makes the colors more vivid. And there are different techniques and settings as to how to do it. This particular one is a painterly image. Okay, Mark and Sanchez with all the apartment houses on the east edge of Twin Peaks. This is at Castro with PCC 1051, the Muni simplified car. And this is the, I had an interesting nighttime experience. I get up to a stop on Market Street, and as I'm, loading and unloading passengers, a man comes running over and calling out, "Milano, Milano." And he asked me, "How come?" And he kisses the car. So I explained how it was that we got the car, and he was so happy. But but also shows the iconic beauty of the Milan Peter Witt. This is the pull-out route on the J line with Bredas, Dolores and 29th, Dolores and 30th Street. So 1997, I decided to visit Milan.
Oh,
Okay, this is a map of the Milan tram system. This is the more modern map, but there are, in 1997, you had line 33 going to Cacciatore di Alpi and all the way to Deposito Leoncavallo. Those are no longer revenue trackage segments. You had, but essentially the system is pretty much the same as it was now as it was in 1997. This is the north end of the system. You'll see line 31 later on in the program. You'll see, Limbiati line will have to wait for another day. Here's the south end, 15 line to Rosano. Here's car 2000. This car is still with us. It's on Via Veneto. This is a 1842. This car is still with us. It's along the Navi in southern Milan. This is cars at Corduccio, and the gallery is in the background. Car unfortunately has been scrapped. 1745 is on Ticinesi Street, still with us. These interesting were the cars were the first streamliners. They were built around in the 40s, and they were the only cars that have two headlights. They were gone by 1975. Milan also had what they call 2 rooms and a kitchen cars. In America, we call them 2 rooms and a bath. These also lasted until 1975. And this 1971 shot shows the transition from two-tone green to orange. All 3 of these trams are still in service. 4733 was the highest number 6 axle tram. So my first years, I got to know the system. I'm going to try and make this brief. Basically, line 1 went from north to west via Distrito Centro. Line 2, north to south. Line 3, north to south also. Line 4, north to southeast. Line 5, west to east. Line 9, this is the eastern part of the 2930 ring route. Line 11, north to east, did not go through downtown. Line 12, Rosario to Molise, northwest to southeast via Centro. Line 14, Cimitore Maggiore to Lorentagio, northwest to southwest via Centro. Line 15, north to south. Line 19, northwest to Centro. Line 23, Centro to northeast Lambrate. 24, Centro to east to Vigentino. Line 27, west to east. 29 and 30 were the ring routes, or circumvallazione. Line 29 went counterclockwise. Line 30 clockwise. Line 33, Espinasse to Lambrate, west to east. This is my very first shot on Via Lazzaretto. Very first shot of a Milan tram. Not a great shot, but it's a first. This is Piazza della Repubblica, which is a wonderful wide open space where you can watch hundreds of trams go by. Stazione Centrale on the right. Distrito Centro, this is on near Corduzio. This is a home-built jumbo tram. These were built in 1971, and half of them were scrapped around 2005. The others were retired by 2010. This was an unrebuilt jumbo tram. Basically, they were made from car bodies of 5200 and 5300 streamliners. This is a 6-axle tram. Line 29 and 30 were their assignments for many, many years. So this is a 1997 shot at Repubblica. Now we're at Arco della Pace. Cimitore Monumentale, Stazione Stazione Garibaldi. I tend to mix up the Patriot with the composer. This stretch of trackage was out of service for many years in mid-2000. 1998, looked down from my hotel at Buenos Aires and Lima. Vitruvio. This is via Veneto and Lazzaretto. Via Veneto, just east of Repubblica. 1859 was one of 2 Peter Witts, for which I have pictures of in both Milan and San Francisco. This is Piazza Cavour. This is the north end of Via Manzoni, main fashion and shopping street in Milan. passing Duomo.
It's 8 o'clock.
This is the other tram for which I have pictures in both cities. Behind the Duomo. Line 27, when I was first there, it was a Peter Witt line. It became a jumbo tram line. This is leaving Cairoli, and at ATM headquarters, you'll see another picture of this same streetcar at the same location, but in a different color scheme later. This is Porta Ticinesi, also known as Piazza 24 Maggio, or 24th of May. 1503 was the first production car. It has been rebuilt to its original appearance without a rear door, and is used for charters. Here's 1927 school tram, also at 24 Maggio. This is at Porta Ticinesi Medievale. This is a jumbo tram. These were built 1976 to 1977. This is inside Deposito Ticinesi. Tram 1884 on the right, which got damaged, became a parts source for Gomeco, which scrapped a whole lot of trams and brought the parts over to rebuild as double truck Bernies in Charlotte, Tampa, and Little Rock. This is a nice night scene at Lambrate. Okay, line 2 went all the way out Fulvio Testi for many years. This is at Desio with Witts that are about to be scrapped. Okay, we're back inside Deposito Ticinesi. This is a brand new Eurotram. These were introduced in 2000. And one of them was out on line 14 on a test run. And these are AdTrans technicians on board, and they invited me to ride. So I rode with them all the way out to Laurentesio. This is Piazza's, this is Stazione Cadorna. This is where electric railroads go all the way up to places like Lake Como in the northern part of Italy, and also to Malpensa Airport. This is the other side of Cadorna. And this is line 4 tram on the Monte Velino portion. Later, this portion would be taken over by line 16. Okay, and here we are along the Navigli in southern Milan. 1908 was originally second prototype. 1502. After the war, many of these trams got renumbered. Here's another view of it heading northbound towards Centro.
Peter, there was a question. Does
Yes.
the Milan system use standard 600 volt DC overhead or something different?
It's standard 600. I might also add that the track gauge is an unusual 4 feet 9 inches, which actually did not prove to be a problem when we gauged our widths to standard gauge.
For San Francisco. And the other
Yes.
question is, what's the round red dot hanging from the span wires?
Those indicate breakers.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. This is line 1 on Sempione. Line 33 on via Espinazzi. The new Polizzi Bridge has both lines 19 and 12 going over to across the Italian State Railways over to the Rosario neighborhood. Opened up in 2000. We're back at downtown. This is an unrebuilt home built jumbo tram. You can tell it's an unrebuilt because it has a double windshield.
And when were those built, Peter? These
1970.
1970. Okay.
There's a rebuilt one behind. You'll see a better shot. Well, like here, this is via Zugna on line 14. This is a rebuilt jumbo tram. These lasted to 2010. 2001 was the first time I was able to get shots in front of La Scala Opera House. Line 20 was a historic line for tourists, ran with two-tone green colored cars. Here we are at Porta 24 Maggio. That's a line 3 tram crossing behind 1908.
All right, Peter, 2 questions. Can you go back one slide? Okay. The first, no, one forward. All right. First of all, what is the vintage of the white tram? And another question was, why did they scrap the jumbo trams rather than the much older Peter Witts, if you know the answer to
I don't know the answer to the second question. And I think it has to do with the icon status of the Peter Witts.
I would agree. That's a good reason. Yeah.
The jumbo trams in the 4900 series were built new by Fiat in 1976, 77.
Oh, those. Yeah. The ones we're looking at. Okay.
Okay. This is a Eurotram at Piazza Tirana on line 14. First line to get the Eurotrams. Going the other direction.
From what year those trams?
2000.
Right. Okay.
At Laurentasio. Looping around Laurentasio is taken from the Holiday Inn. And a jumbo tram leaving Laurentasio back at Piazza Tirana. This is another high dynamic range image, as brings the colors out much more vividly. And unrebuilt and rebuilt home built jumbo trams at Orientatio. And now we're at Cacciatore di Alpi. This is the west terminal of line 33, but trams do not come here anymore in service. There's a tram coming over the new Polizzi Bridge. And now we come to the pièce de résistance, pardon, attack. This is Deposito Messina. This is truly the cathedral of traction. Okay, back in Cordusio, the Eurotram and a Peter Witts on a rainy day. Via Cantu, this is a line 19 terminal. The first tram is a training car. An unrebuilt Peter Witts on Via Orpici, coming through Porta Ticinesi Medievali. This is the only place in Milan where inbound and outbound tracks have to share their way through restricted space. This is trams going outbound. This is the inbound track. This is looking south from via pardon me. It's via Midi, just south of Porta 24 Maggio, going out on line 3 on open trackage, Messiah. This is a brand new Serio, 35 meters long, leaving Graziosolio, line 3 terminal, approaching. And on Via Mita, now we're on line 14, northwestern Milan. This is an image that is in sepia tone, but the tram is in full color. Piazza Firenze. We're back at Repubblica. Cairoli, line 1. This is old line 4 at Lanza. Goes along Legnano, skirting Parco Sempione. It's an enormous park in the middle of Milan. Going the other direction, Legnano Arena. The old line 4 would be replaced by a new line 4. This is a line 9 tram. It's being diverted and it's crossing trolley coach lines 91 and 90, 91 and 92. It's very close to Centrale. And our old friend, the tourist tram. Okay, Cordusio. This is Castello Sforzesco in the background. Another rainy day. Cordusio with the Galleria in the background. And here Eurotram stretches out its entire 35 meters of length on Orefici.
It's 8:15.
This is at Missouri, just south of Duomo. This is on the main shopping and fashion street via Manzoni. Cavour arches in the background. This is back at Republica, new serial in undergoing burn-in testing. Line 15 until 2004 shared trackage with line 3. This is just south of Tibaldi. Appia's Grosso, and some serial got assigned to line 15. Line 7, when it opened up in 2002, got Eurotrams assigned to it, which is very unusual. Is that Greco Pirelli, and I believe this is a high dynamic range image. For a while, the Largo Marte was the outer terminal, line 7. Long serial were assigned. Long serial coming under the Italian State Railways tracks. Back at Cordusio, 2004, still have Eurotrams on line 14. This is Cairoli with Castello in the background. Tourist tram 1847 with Castello in the background. There's, the 6-axle trams started to be reassigned away from the circular routes 29 and 30. So they went on line 16. This is Castello again. There's a line 4 tram looping around ATM headquarters at Cairoli. Lanza. This is the new line 4. It opened up in 2004. And what it did was it took over the inner portion of the Desio interurban, which had gone through places like Macachini. Nizza, Ospedale Maggiore, and this is Niguarda Centro, line 4 with its long serial, line 5 with its Peter Witts came up here. And 6-axle trams filled in on line 5. This is approaching Parco Nord, the outer terminal of line 4. These tracks in the foreground connect to the Desio interurban. There's a tram leaving Parco Nord. and at Parco Nord is the interurban sphere. It will be abandoned in 2011. Line 7 still was a very interesting line. Its inner terminal became Castello, but it still terminated out at Largo Mate, and it featured everything from Long Sirio to Peter Witts. There's Atlanta, Lenano Arena, Viamonte, this is along Fulvio Testi at Istria, and jumbo trams also had to be assigned to line 7. This is at Bicocca University, and Greco Pirelli station. You never know what the tram after this one might be. Turns out it's a Sirio. Greco Pirelli. Okay, now we go to the new alignment of line 15, which basically runs to the east of line 3, which goes south along Mita Street. This is just south of Tibaldi. Line is open, but the landscaping's not in yet. Eurotram at Medeghino. And now we still have Eurotrams running on line 14. This is on Lenano Arena, 1847 in Via Broletto downtown. 2005, we still have Peter Witts on 7, but they now have proper destination sign numbers. This is at Castello Sforzesco and Viamonte, or Farini rather. This is a high dynamic range image of Peter Witt passing through Bicocca University. Greco Pirelli, line 4, up at Niguarda Centro, Casquina, California, just south of Parco Nord, and the terminal. And here we compare the 13-meter long Peter Witt to the 35-meter long Sirio. Leaving Parco Nord. Well, because line 5 was now routed up to Parco Nord, ATM had to introduce a shuttle service to between L'Agosta and Ospedale Maggiore. The number sign has a slash through it to mark the short turn. Republica, Peter Witts have taken over line 2930. You see a 6-axle on line 11, which would soon disappear. This is 24 Maggio, also on line 2930, and a Eurotram pulling in off of line 14. And it's advertising the rehabilitation of the Scala Opera House, which took place in 2005. Inside Deposito Ticinesi, Peter Witts, a truck change for a jumbo tram. Now we're at the Piazza Cinque Giornate, or 5 days. Line 30, 29. Line 23 loops around the building and heads inbound. Lines 12 and 27 and their jumbo trams cross the ring route.
Peter, couple questions.
Yes.
Number one from Paul Gukowski, does line 20 still run? And what are its, oh, somebody just said 20 has been closed. So the other question from Russ Jackson, how are the track switches controlled?
Electronically.
From the operator console?
Correct.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
Okay, line 9 was getting the short serial at this time, but there weren't enough of them to cover the full service. Here we are, line 9 at Republica at 24 Maggio, back at Republica, and their terminal was the west side of Stazione Centrale. These are fill-in trams because there weren't enough short serial or serietto. The tram on the left is a 4800 series jumbo. Tram on the right, a 6-axle tram. This is a evening shot along Via Manzoni, the main shopping fashion street. Via Turati. Okay, now a few pictures at Missouri, which is just south of Duomo. This is a Eurotram heading outbound on line 15. One going the other way. This is line 12 turning off of Via Torino and then heading eastward. Another line 15 shot. This is a high dynamic range image. And the Peter Witt in training. This is Porta Nuova. For a brief time in 2007, trams ran through here. Later they would, after line 33 reopened, and you'll see pictures of them doing that. More trams would go through Porta Nuova. This is kind of significant. The route changes. Okay, so in this map, which is the same as what you previously saw, you have line 7 going northbound along Fulvio Testi. You have line 31, which also operated along Fulvio Testi. You had line 4 going all the way down to Cairoli, and this stretch of line 33 came back for a short period of time. Here we have line 31,
It's 8:30.
line 31, which opened up in 2008. And here's that shot of 1613 again at ATM headquarters. Now it's painted yellow and white. And this shot describes how the history of the Ventotto. They were built starting in 1928. 1931, they had a rear door added. Also, they were painted green. 1931. 1940, during the war, many of them were heavily damaged, but all except one returned to service. 1970, orange became the basic color. And in 2007, yellow and white became the basic color. We are at Turati, line 1, which was really a showcase line because it ran on the Fashion Street. Got all yellow and white Peter Witts. Here's an absolutely amazing shot of one in front of La Scala Opera House. No photo bomb. Approaching Cairoli, Repubblica, Cairoli again, Castello in the background, Repubblica again, leaving Repubblica on Via Veneto, and at Cordusio with the Galleria in the background. And at Porta Piazza Firenze, northwestern Milan. And at Stazione Cadorna, Castello in the background. A night shot of line 2 at Stazione Centrale. This is at Cavour Arch. And Arco della Pace. Line 2 mostly got orange trams in 2008. Cordusio, Manzoni. Line 2 would later be changed to take over the northern part of line 3. And By so doing, it dropped the number of lines on Manzoni to 1. So that this is at the Tirati. Line 2930 got new route signs. Line 11, both line 29, 30, and 11 would soon be eliminated. And here's a first example of a Peter Witts with advertising. This is at Republica. This is a yellow wit on line 1, an orange wit on line 2. The Veneto. Like to say this is Republica, but I'm not absolutely certain. Actually, I think it's more like Firenze. Cadorna. And for ATM, it was much easier to apply advertising to a smooth-sided tram than it was to a Peter Witts. In the meantime, 6-axle trams got assigned to line 2. And line 7, they were at the Precotto terminal of line 7. Inbound tram passing through Farini and Ferrari, Caroli. That was when line 7 came downtown. Doesn't anymore. Line 4, however, still comes downtown. Viamonte. For a while, the long serial were assigned to line 3. This is at Corduccio in Centro, and that Bosson at the other end of the line. Line 3 service is now taken over by line 2. That's a Socimi trolley bus on the right. There are 4 trolley coach lines in Milan. Okay, back to line 9 and Republica. Here's a diverted line 9 tram, which had just passed under the Cavour Arch. Little strange to see these on this basically Peter Witts line. Line 9 continued to get 6-axle trams as supplements. And now the short serial were also introduced to line 14. This is on via Torino in Centro. This is Piazza Firenze. This is inside Deposito Baggio. And inside Deposito Precotto, the home of the long serial. This is the newest tram depot in Milan. Nice night shot of a tram passing La Scala. Line 31 opened in 2008, and it terminated at Lagosta, a nice open air market. Heading out towards Cinisello and Fulvio Testi. Coming inbound also in Fulvio Testi. Now we're at Parco Nord Torretta. This is just beyond Bignami, which I'll show you another picture later. Parco Nord Torretta again. Clerici. Martinelli. Further in Cinisello, this is close to the outer terminal. This tram had just left the outer terminal. And at the outer terminal, which is 1 Maggio 1. And another shot with Forsythia and a yellow and white Peter Witt, 1757, which was on a charter. Line 33, for the brief time that was in service. This is at Sierra Rawl, passing Deposito Leoncavallo on Teodosio Street, passing Teodosio Workshops. Teodosio and Proprio. Proprio, Luli and Aspromonte. This is Loreto crossing trolley coach lines 90 and 91. Lima. Vitruvio and Settembrini. This is at Stazione Centrale. This building, the Pirelli building, was at one time Milan's tallest, not anymore. Santore Santa Maria. We're at near the west end of line 33. Tram going the other way. Line 12 comes in at Santore Santa Rosa. Okay, the next 4 pictures are of the last year's service, full year's service of the 4800s. This is on Sempione Procaccini on a diverted line 12. This is Lagosta on line 7. fisheye view at Corduccio, line 12, looking through a construction fence for the M5 Metro. And this is approaching Procatini. A few random shots. Line 27 was another line that got the 6 axles. And
Peter, there was a question. Do you
Yes.
happen to know where Milan ranks among the world's largest tram systems, whether it's biggest, number 5? It's probably not the biggest, but it's in the top 5, top 10.
I'd say it's probably in the top 10.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Mhm.
And I think there was another question from Carl Jackson. Do the trams have to power off when crossing trolley bus junctions? I know Alberto said
Alberto
something.
answered it.
Oh, okay.
They should power off.
They should power off. Okay.
But
Oh,
That
okay.
that depends on the nature of the overhead.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Is in 2009, the jumbo trams in the 4900 series, the high numbers started to get air conditioning. This is
It's 8:45.
this is a shot of inside Deposito Baggio. On the left, you see the 2 restaurant trams. Someday I will have dinner on one of these. Here's a Porta Venetia. You can see how easy it is to put advertising on Sirio. This is Zugna and Colombo. This is a line 14 tram heading out to Lorentagio. Same intersection. Porta Genova. This was the second attempt to put advertising on a Peter Witt. Arco della Pace in the rain. This is 1957, another school tram. We're still at Arco della Pace. This is basically before the restaurant started going in. And as you can see, the 6-axle trams started to be painted yellow and white. This is at Ascoli. Now this tram is thinking, should I attack the Sirio on the left, or should I attack the Peter Witt on the right? As it was, went out the 5 line. This is Turati and Stati Uniti. This is the site of the American consulate, and the American flag is flying from the building. The people's faces are in the way, so I can't really emphasize it. This is Lega Colombo, also the 7500 series Sirietto are being painted yellow and white. Here, tram lines diverge. Lines 2, 3, 4, and 7 take this road on the right. Lines 12 and 14 take this road on the left and go to northwestern Milan. This is Bignami. This is at one time the terminal for Peter Witts lines 2 and 11. Now it is merely a stop on line 31. Inside of Siriato, some night shots at Cordusio evening. There's a Castello with twinkling headlights on the stereo. And some pictures of the restaurant trams. This is at Cordusio pulling out. This is where they load their diners at the Castello. There were two of them, 1855 and 1970. And 1970 is leaving Castello. This is what the inside of a restaurant tram looks like. It's air conditioned. And 1847 became an illuminated tram. Here on March 2011 is showcasing the 150th anniversary of Italy's independence from the Austrian Empire. Cordusio, Cusano, Castello. Now, as I go to the next picture, which has a close-up of the lights, I want you to think tongue twister. Specifically, how much wood does a woodchuck chuck? Or how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Okay, so this is what it looks like at night. And at daytime. Okay, I'm going to present these by year, 2015 through 2018, and in numerical order. 1566 at Cavour Arch. This is a generic tram that's ready for advertising, but doesn't have any yet. This is at Piazza Sei Febbraio, or February 6th. And now this shot, you have to forgive the driver of the car with the New York state plates for his lousy parking job. But it was either that or miss the shot. Domodossola, connection to Metro Line M5. Alpini, Repubblica, Piazza 24 Maggio, 24th of May. Corduccio, this is a advertising tram with your basic advertising only on the roof. It's approaching Sei Fabio. Cairoli, Cinque Giornate, Porta Nuova, Repubblica. This is approaching Stazione Garibaldi, the new trackage. And here we have the urban forest. This tram at Porta Nuova advertises how patrons can buy their tickets through their smartphones. Repubblica, I'm gonna come out of this for a second, because I can, this Piazzale Baracca. I can never remember the name of the location. Monte Santo, Porto Nuova, Repubblica, Cimitore Monumentale, Piazza Cinque Giornate, was pub via Rosales, approaching Stazione Garibaldi. This is at Corduccio. Lazaretto. This is at yet another place that I keep forgetting. It's Accurcio. Sorry about that. It's anyway, it's near the end of the one line. It was Tunisia and Buenos Aires. Manzoni at night. Arco della Pace. Porta Nuova again. Monte, 20 September. Arco della Pace, Manzoni, 24 Maggio, Repubblica, Rosario, the end of the 19 line. Now it's the end of the one line. And this is two matching trams at Piazza Firenze. Repubblica, no, excuse me, Ascoli, Accurcio, Arco della Pace, passing one of the restaurants, probably the Wild Wild West restaurant. This is Sempione Domo Sola. That's my phone. Sorry about that. Can't answer it. Pagano. Oh yes, this is example of what an advert tram looked like in March of 2016 or 2017 and in October of 2017. Porto Nuovo, Republic,
It's 9 o'clock.
Alpini, Ospedale Maggiore, coming off the new Polizzi Bridge. Now line 1 has taken over the service from line 19. Porto Nuova, Arco della Pace, Baracca, approaching Piazzale Segesta, leaving Piazzale Segesta. This is at the north end of Sempione. This is what a Sirietto looks like with advertising.
Oh, goddamn shit.
Question?
Keep going, Peter. We're good.
Okay. This is what a Eurotram looks like with advertising. This is at Tibaldi, line 15. And this is what a new rebuilt jumbo tram looks like with advertising. This is another high dynamic range image. Okay, 4950 was the pilot tram for this jumbo tram rehab program. It had been out of service for many years and ATM selected it for it to be the pilot. First line to get these was line 27. This is passing through a military installation. night scene on Corducio. This is what the rear end of a rebuilt jumbo tram looks like. The second line to get these was line 16. Approaching Segesta, leaving Segesta, you see there's a unrebuilt jumbo tram on the right. Corducio at night. Third line, line 12, coming off the new Polizzi Bridge. Okay, now we come to the stretch of track past Garibaldi, which finally went back into service around 2015. This is a tram at Piazza Gioia, approaching Gioia via Rosales. This is Ferrari. Excuse me, minute, Molly. Ferrari Castiglione. Another view, same location. Approaching Stazione Garibaldi. At Stazione Garibaldi. Approaching from the west. Leaving, heading westbound. Approaching from the west again. Via Farini is in the background. This curved structure has been there for years and years. Line 33's new terminal is Piazza La Costa. And in 2016, ATM introduced these hop-on, hop-off trolleys. Basically, they were similar to line 20. These were not successful because no one knew where they were. There were only 2 of them, and the schedule was rather erratic, but the colors were pretty. (1822) is a special service tram, but I don't know what it's for. Here are more shots of the dinner trams. Cairoli again. Cadorna. Vente Quattro Maggio with a line 3 tram crossing in the background. This is on Via Mondoni, the main shopping fashion street in Milan. Diners, passing diners. Porta Nuova. (1847) had another illuminated appearance in I believe this was 2016. So advertising a new wine. Come on, why is this not working? Okay, this is a high dynamic range shot of a tram crossing the Grand Canal in southern Milan. This is at Baracca, Porta Ticinesi Medievali. Here you can see the tracks as they go underneath the monument better than in the previous picture. 4,900, this 4,900 has been air conditioned. And an absolutely pristine shot of the terminal at Rosano with almost no graffiti on either the tram or the structure, which is, to me, amazing. Fisheye view at Corduzio. Here we have 4 Witts in one picture. Republica. And a nice early evening shot of a tram at Arco della Pace with the Castello Sforzesco lit up in the background. There's this tram coming down Pagano from Arco della Pace. Okay, next few shots are all Photoshop. And of course, 1818 is diverted to the F line. So King's Highway on the BMT. Here's a Milan tram on its way to New Haven, passing a train of M8s at Greenwich. And what more could someone ask than to have a tram service come right up to your front door? And this is the house where I lived from 2010 to 2014. It was built in 1777, and the tram was built in 1928, 150 years later. And you never know what you're going to see when you ride the St. Charles streetcar in New Orleans. Picture of a tram hanging from a sign, maybe. Okay, so briefly, these are some charter shots. This is a charter in 2000 coming over the New Polizzi Bridge. 1503, the first production car. This is a shot that goes under the category of I Dare You. Basically, this was a 2-charter arrangement. My friend in Italy, Borgio Mortorino, chartered 1966, which was the last orange non-revisione Witt left in Milan. And I chartered the last Streamliner, 5137. Both roads come down from Porta Genova. This is an Edison tram passing through Bococcia University. This charter was done in 2005. 2009, we chartered a yellow and white wit, went out to San Siro at the giant Miazza soccer stadium and out line 31, Porco Nord Torretta. Another charter in 2016 featured an orange wit. We're again on line 31. This is the Cinicello clock tower. And my last charter in Milan was this one. It was with 1723. We're passing on line 16, the church called Santa Maria Grazie. And on line 15, one of the very few Tudor houses in Italy. The sign in the front dash reads Fisherman's Wharf. Speaking of Fisherman's Wharf, brief look at San Francisco, 1859. One of the two cars for which I have pictures of in Milan and San Francisco was the first one to arrive at Metro Yard, November 24th, 1998. Here's a later view of the same car on the T line at the UCSF Mission Bay. This area has changed completely since. To Ventotto in their first month of service on the F line, March 2000. They still had their original numbers. This is near the ferry building. 4 Wits at the terminal at Jones and Beach Fisherman's Wharf, led by yellow and white 1811. 1807, in his first day of service as a yellow and white car, passes Sister 1811 at Market and 8th Street.
It's 9:15.
This is 1818, which has been painted two-tone green. We're at the 19th Street stub off of the T line. 2 cranes in the background are part of the Union Iron Works Historic District. Union Iron Works was a unit of Bethlehem Steel, and it produced streetcars for Muni in the 20s. And lastly, a Christmas time shot of 1818, decorated for Yuletide at Market and Church. And Mille grazie, the end. Thank you very much.
Okay. So Peter, thank you very much. If
You're
you want
welcome.
to unshare, was outstanding pictures, outstanding presentation.
Unshare, stop share.
Stop share, right.
Okay.
Yep.
Uh,
And many thanks to Alberto. I saw that Alberto answered a lot of the questions during the meeting. So all of you, you're free to turn your video on if you have questions for Peter. So next month, again, the meeting is on June 18th. Dr. Albert Chirella is going to be talking about the transition from Pennsylvania Railroad to both SEPTA commuter rail and MTA Long Island Railroad commuter rail. And Peter's here if you have questions
yes,
or comments.
I'm here.
And I will type both my email address and Peter's if you want to send your comments in writing. So with that, I open the floor to everybody here. Again, feel free to turn on your videos and
I'll use
unmute
it all up,
yourselves.
because if I decide to have a rum and coke later, I'm gonna use that.
Which one? Rum and Coke? Oh,
I was talking to my son.
mhm. Oh,
Peter, as long as I have you on the screen, you
Yeah.
mentioned that those switches in Milan are thrown electronically. Is that also on the Witts as well?
yes. Yeah, actually, it's just more, it's a little more complicated than that. It's, in some cases, it's similar to the power on, power off apparatus that many US streetcars had.
That's what I
But
would have thought, yeah.
But in Milan, they do have signals that set the switches.
There was a question, Peter, are there any grand unions in, Alberto answered already. There's some grand unions. Alberto was really right there at your side answering a lot of these questions. I don't know where he
Thank you,
is.
Alberto. Where are you? Oh. Hmm?
Okay.
Oh, there he is.
Oh,
I
ciao.
hope-
God.
I hope you can
Good,
hear me.
good.
It's my first Zoom videos. Okay. Thank you, and thank you, everyone.
My pleasure. Mhm.
Okay, it's 3:20 here, and I go bed.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. it's
Okay.
really late. Thank you
All
for
right.
participating, Alberto.
If you want information or something, just ask Peter for my mail. He has
Yeah.
me.
Okay.
I'm
Will do.
at disposal for everybody.
Thank you, Alberto. Thank you very
Yeah,
much for
thank you,
joining us.
Alberto.
All right. Good night.
Yeah, I've known Alberto for many, many years.
My kids have seen them more times than they probably ever want to, but 50, 60 years from
Who's got the background?
I don't know either. Okay, do we have any other questions or comments? There are a lot of comments coming in the chat, Peter.
Oh,
And one thing,
Jack May asked a question about the difference between the 4600 and 4700 series. Do you know, Peter?
there is a difference. The 47s have more sophisticated electronics. And for that reason, they are going to be retained. Whereas the 4600s are probably going to be going very soon.
the other thing I should have mentioned is thanks to the efforts of Sandy Campbell, if you want to wave so everyone sees you, Sandy. We have been posting, I think we asked for every speaker's permission to post their show. I assume, Peter, we can post your show.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so probably 2 to 3 weeks. You'll just go on erausa.org and you'll look by month for the show and you will see Peter's show.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any other comments or questions for Peter?
Great show, Peter.
Thank you, Ron. Mhm. Glad you enjoyed it.
Well, Peter, I do have a
Sure did.
question about the, Alberto mentioned something about the, before the pantographs, that they had the same type of trolley poles they use in San Francisco.
Yes.
Was that identical, or was because a bow collector sometimes can look similar?
No, they were identical. I mean, there may have been a slight difference in the trolley harp, but
But it was the same, well, it wasn't a bow, it was the same.
essentially is the same. With the carbon inserts. And
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of Europe used to use bow collectors, that's the reason I
Yes.
asked.
Mhm.
So how many tram lines are still running in Milan?
Uh,
When did they go to pantographs?
Pantographs came in the mid-70s. At simultaneously, they got rid of conductors.
Oh, super show, Peter.
Okay, thank you.
And I think,
Peter,
Yes.
what do you think of the future of the Witts there? They gonna keep them forever, or is there a definite
Oh,
plan?
As far as I know, Russ, is that they are so iconic that they're going to keep them at least on lines 1 and 19.
So a couple lines worth, long term.
Yeah. Mhm.
Could do that.
And in other words, they will last until their 100th birthday.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah.
They're not the oldest because I think if you go to,
Yeah. If people say the Isle of Manx trams are
That's
even
right.
older, but
oh,
there's a difference.
and Majorca
Isle-
also.
The Isle of Man trams are not operated by a public agency.
right,
Mhm.
Well, you got Majorca,
Mallorca, right.
cars from the 20s.
Mhm.
Right,
But it's not really intense city service like the Milan trams.
right.
No,
True.
no, it's more like what you'd see in Little Rock.
Right.
Yeah.
Peter, I don't know if you know, there was a question in the chat. Do you know how many grand unions there are in Milan? Should have asked before.
That I do not know.
Okay,
I wish I did.
can't know everything. Should have
Yeah.
gotten that question before your friend jumped off.
Next
There are some
time
shop
over.
right. There's some shop rides there too, besides the
Next
Grand
time
Unions.
over, Peter, take a drone with you and get a shot of that Grand Union from the air.
Yeah, just don't hit any wires going up.
Yeah,
Or down.
right.
Okay.
You have to see that to believe it, and you need to get in the air to see that. The world's greatest Grand Union.
World's great. Wonder where it is.
What?
The world's greatest Grand Union.
Well, you had shots there.
Somewhere in Bergen County, New Jersey.
Oh, yeah, right.
There's like six tracks on each quadrant?
Well, let's.
I know there's at least 2 in Toronto.
Yeah, there are 2 in Toronto.
Yeah, at least.
Petersburg, Russia.
Edina and King, I think is it? And I forgot where the other one is.
There's nothing like the one in Milan.
One of these days, I got to get back there again.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So
Go ahead, Peter.
let's see. So boy, 99 chat questions.
Oh, but no, a lot of them got answered during the show. I think we covered everything. And you had about 115 people maximum. So you did
Pretty good.
you did very well.
I have a question, though, Peter, which I
Yeah.
don't remember from my trips there. When you do come to a track switch, do you have to come to basically a full stop to operate it, or can you
No,
sail through it?
no, you do not have to come to a full stop.
Do you sail through it, and
Yes.
when does it
Yes.
align for you? How close are you to the switch when it aligns for you?
How close? I'd say you're about 4 feet away.
Well, you wouldn't be going very fast then.
No. But there's another advantage of the Milan switches, and that is that they're double tongued.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference. It's got to be routed properly, and
Yeah.
You have to have some sort of way of preventing you from throwing the switch under the last truck of the car in front of you.
Mhm. Well, yes, yeah, if you're following a tram that has gone through a switch, you do have to wait.
And how is that enforced?
I have no idea.
No signal or anything? Do they have any sort
No
of
signal.
No signals on the wayside at all?
No signal. No signal. You know, there are wayside signals that govern when a tram can move a certain way, like what you saw at Ascoli, that trailing view tram could go either left or right.
Yeah, but does that interlock with the traffic control?
Yes.
That's a separate case, okay.
Are those switches activated by the operator of the car?
It's a little complicated to answer. In some cases they are, in others they're operated by power on, power off.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think anybody was doing that anymore.
Well, okay, so looks like we had at least one. We had at least one from Italy.
Well, Italy, and we have Germany, Germany in the house. Barbara Jürgen Sensor from Germany and John Priestley's from England. So you had England, Italy, and Germany in the house.
Mhm.
I don't know if we had anyone from Canada here, but that's pretty typical. And I think you had a good cross-section of the United States.
Yeah, I did.
So. Okay, any other questions or comments?
I think I am going to call it a night.
Okay, I think
Okay.
you've been more than.
Thank you so much, Bob.
And I think, oh, thank you, was a wonderful presentation.
Very nice.
Thank
Very
you
nice.
all for participating
Thank you.
tonight.
Tonight.
Mark your calendar.
There's someone from Spain also.
Oh, it's a person from Spain. Yes, I forgot. Someone from Spain was on too. So mark your calendar. June 18th is our next program. With that, I wish you all a good night and a good weekend. All right. And thank you
Okay.
again,
Peter,
Peter.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
My-
indeed.
my
Thank you,
pleasure.
Peter.
Next
Hopefully we
month,
get a chance to run into each other.
When you guys starting up again?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. That's a city hall call.
That's a city hall call. Well,
The system is ready.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
All right. Good night,
Take good care,
everybody.
everyone. Appreciate it.
Okay.